Here? Are we here? Are we here? Are we here? There we are. Slow going live today. Hi, everyone. Welcome to day one of our Write Great Songs Easily for Musical Theater Songwriting Challenge. The idea of this is to pre-write, not rewrite. I'll say more about that as we go through. But hello, willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. If you're here with me live today, why don't you go ahead and just let me know where you're watching from. I'm so curious. I know we had a lot of people sign up for this, and plenty of people who have not yet signed up for this and will. Because what does signing up do for you, my friends? It allows you to have access beyond today. Because today is day one, and we are indeed live on YouTube. Hi, you're here. You know that. That's great. But if you want to join us live, and also if you want the replays, so essentially, if you want to continue with the songwriting challenge after today, you're going to want to sign up with your email. There's a link in the description. That way you'll have the Zoom link access for days 2 and 3, as well as the replays if you can't be there live with us. And we'll talk about when those things are as we go through. Anthony, New York. Hey. Oh, I didn't even see the email, Anthony. I've been in preparation mode, trying to figure out the tech. Georgia's in the house. Chris, back in Virginia. I know. France was so much nicer, I'm sure. But welcome home. Welcome back to the States. Here we are. I love seeing people I work with in the comments here with us. As we go through today, friends, I am going to share my screen so we have slides going. However, I just want to make sure that everything's working fine. While the slides are going, I won't be able to see comments for a hot sec, so I'll try to pop back out of the share at times. But let's get going. Hey, Ashley, watching from Ohio today. Heck yeah. Go, Ohio. All right, into the slideshow. Ooh, great, great, great. I'm just walking you through the tech side as we do this because I want to get to, I don't want to stall here. Tetol, tetol. Stall, tetol. Also, I'm going to share, or excuse me, use my original sound later because we're going to do some live demonstration stuff about some of this stuff as we talk about it. So I apologize for the fan running in the background. This cooler here in New York, however, is still humid enough that my computer gets angry if it doesn't have air. We love her, but she's a little demanding. Okay, I'm going to share my screen for those slides. Preview. There we are, mes amis, here we are. We are here. So, welcome to our songwriting challenge across 3 days. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about a lot of things. It's going to be quite packed. Speaking of 3 days, here's a schedule across these days in case it wasn't clear, which it may not have been. I had the idea for this workshop about 6 weeks ago, and then threw it all together really fast. And a large part of that was because I kept getting the same, not even the same questions, because a lot of this came from different angles on the same question ultimately. It's like knowing the subtext beneath the text. Everyone was ultimately asking about the same thing. I was like, I'm just gonna create a thing. Let's do it. Let's figure it out. So great. Here's our schedule today. Obviously, here we are, noon Eastern time, Zoom and YouTube, it says, but I ended up just doing YouTube for today for ease purposes. My apologies if you hope to join me live in the room via Zoom, but you're live in the room via YouTube. So thank you for that. I appreciate you. Like I said, I'll just pop back out from the slides to make sure I check in every now and then. Day 2 will be Friday. So you'll have a day off in between because you're going to have some homework along the way. It is a challenge after all. There's stuff to do. So that's going to be again at noon Eastern. If you can join, that again will be Zoom only. So do make sure to sign up with your email so you can get that link. Links will be sent out on the morning of, like I did today, and will be sent just to the people who signed up. And then day 3 will actually be on Monday. So you'll have the weekend to do a little more of that songwriting homework along the way. There's a possibility that we'll extend to a 4th day on Wednesday. So keep your, I'm gonna say your ears peeled. That's not a thing. We're gonna go with it though. Keep your ears peeled. So Monday at noon is our planned day 3. But due to the writing piece, as well as we'll see how the feedback side goes, we may just extend over to Wednesday. There might be extra questions and things. I do want to leave time to answer people's questions along the way of this challenge. That's important to me. So that's our sketch. Here's the agenda. Today, day one, we're going to talk about the major problem and the introduction to the solution. So that's that problem that's underlying what people were talking about to me. And we will start the songwriting challenge part one. Day two will be the form that we're going to utilize for said challenge. We're going to deep dive into it for a moment, as well as some other things you need to know in order to do the pre-write. And then you will finish the songwriting two portion. Day three will be about putting it all together, because this is kind of like dip the toe in. There's more. There's next steps. So we'll talk about that. And that's when we'll do our song sharing and feedback. So if you've signed up for Le Challenge, you have the ability to not only be live with me in the room via Zoom on the second and third days, and fourth day if we add one, but also you will have the ability to potentially get feedback from me by sharing your song live on day three. So if that's of interest to you, it's a lovely opportunity. It'll be fun. Yeah. Yeah, feedback. And my feedback system's great. I love it. Not gonna lie. Okay, here's the problem. Here's the thing, my friends. Songwriters seem to get stuck in one of two places. They either get stuck in writing a first draft of their song due to having only partial clarity. We're gonna talk about that clarity piece a lot. Or they write a first draft that doesn't satisfy them. Perhaps it's not up to their taste level, or it's not doing the work that they want to be doing, but then they don't know where to go from there or where they went wrong. So as I'm talking to people about the blocks they were having, some of these people had all their foundations underneath them. They had all of the skills, tools set. They knew what they were. They even knew how to put them into practice. And yet they were coming up against this problem where the drafts weren't satisfying them, or they were getting stuck sitting down to write a first draft. There were some other people who were still in the tool gathering, skill building phase, but at the same time were like completely arrested by their songs. And ultimately it comes down to the same thing. Okay, so this is the problem here, right? That we're talking about is we get stuck in one of these two places. It's very common, very, very common. Early on in my journey, 'twas me. That was me actually for a decent number of years, where I'd sit down to write a song and I would just like smash my head against a wall, either partway through the process or right at the beginning of the process. Let's not do that anymore, because there is indeed a way through, which is what we're going to talk all about in this challenge, and also put into practice through writing a song. Yay! You knew you were writing a song, right? That's what a songwriting challenge is to do. Hopefully that's clear. Here's on it. Yes, I just said that, Michael. But good on you for putting it on a slide. Very good. Okay. This does, by the way, apply to both composers and lyricists, because there are bits of everything in this model. So if you're someone, I didn't put on here, but like even book writers, this applies. If you strictly write book, hi, story and character are a large part of the book. Or excuse me, a large part of the songs because they're part of the book. So it applies to you too, but this is built for at least the practical side for writing a song along the way. So composers and lyricists, it's going to especially apply to you. But anyone and everyone can take part in this challenge. So I hope you do. And if you want to connect up with people along the way, let's say that you are a composer and you don't write lyrics at all, but you want to try it in collaboration, which you do not have to do. You can if you want to. You don't have to. Feel free to connect up with people in the YouTube comments. That's why I wanted to do this on YouTube for day one, actually, was so it was open to a broader audience automatically. So if people were coming into the challenge and wanted to like lean in, but they only write either lyrics or music and they want to do a full song, then you can pair up with people. So feel free to like drop in the comments or in the chat here, like, hey, I'm a blank and I'm looking for a blank. And let's see if you can just like collaborate on something. It's a one-off song. You're not married to each other, so it's great. Not that there's anything wrong with marriage. Bobby from company disagrees. Okay, so zero pressure on that. But let's talk about songs. The thing that makes them truly tick. Because this is the thing that I think is missing for everybody who comes to me with one of these two problems. Great. Great. Oh, and say who I am. That's why I put the slide in here, so I didn't forget to say it. If you're here, you probably know me, but if you don't know me, hi, I'm Michael Ratty, also known as Musical Theater Writer Guy here on the YouTubes. I run the Musical Theater Writing Collective, which is an online community. We're international, and it's lovely. I love the people in there so much. Come join us. It's great. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. We have tons of resources, live events, lots of FaceTime. You get to connect with people. It's all about connection, collaboration, community, people. Yes. Anyway, I do that. I teach live courses, a foundational musical theater writing workshop course twice a year, as well as a Mastery Accelerator program, MAP for short, that I do twice a year as well. That's slightly more advanced, like past those foundational levels. I do coaching, I do all sorts of things, and I've got this YouTube channel. I've got Instagram. I'm MT Writer Guy. I'm also on TikTok. Find me all the places. I talk about musical theater writing because, hey, it's hard to find this stuff. And I want to help give that stuff to all of you. That's me. You can read a bit about my bio. I've had musicals produced. I've worked with cool people. I've done cool things. There it is. I don't want to belabor onward. Okay. Here's how I like to think about musical theater songs and where I think we don't have the distinctions we all need. We have three layers. Whenever I say the word layers, think about my roommate saying the word layers, like Mary Berry from Bake Off. Just so you know. Layers, darling, layers. So the three layers, we have our surface layer, we have what I call our tangible layer, and then we have our underneath layer. Layer one, that first one, the surface. This is the action of the song. Of the song, around the song, through the song, in the song's actions. Included in here is the idea of / questions of what is happening physically during the song. Because like physical action is important. We don't just stand and sing in a musical. Well, I guess occasionally we do. Not often though, right? There's action, there's story happening still. What is happening mechanically in the writing, right? How are we creating a starting place? And how are we creating an ending place? And then what are the steps to get there, right? So we start in a place of like, one person doesn't want to go for ice cream, and the other person wants to go for ice cream. And by the end of the song, they both want to go for ice cream. Great. How did we get from here to here, right? What were the mechanical steps? What was the argument laid out? Was there a back and forth that happened? Right. It's the mechanics. That stuff, the action, is the surface level. We need it. We love it. Don't ignore it, please. A lot of people ignore that step. The next, I almost said surface. No. The next layer down is the tangible level. This applies to the lyrics specifically because this is where language now comes in. Because we have, okay, let's say we have the mechanics of the ice cream example. What are the specifics of how that happens? In our ice cream example, we clearly have one person trying to convince someone else of something. Neat. Now we have broken down, like, okay, maybe they have a 3-step argument on that. I don't mean argument as like conflict argument. I mean like a Greek style argument. We're laying out an argument. So we've got, here's why we should get ice cream. We're gonna add to why we're gonna get ice cream. Maybe the other person chimes in with, but, and then the objection is quelled with one more bit of info, right? Okay, let's go with that for a moment as our movement through the piece. What are those specifics as to the argument? What is that first why? Not just what is it, but what language is being utilized. In order to hit the language being utilized, you have to know the relationship between the characters. You have to know the situation they're in. You have to know where the conflict came from. And then we're going to have to know how they talk to each other. Do these people know each other well? If they do know each other well, do they have a certain type of language they utilize? Is there like a friendship language? You know how we all have those friends who like, if anyone else listened to a conversation between us, they would have no idea what's being said or what's going on. Do they have that? Or are they from a specific time and place that influences the kind of language they utilize? And that does that influence the hook? The answer is yes, it's going to influence the hook. How does that influence the hook? And the encapsulation of the main idea of the song, right? These are important things. We've got our mechanics. We've got our tangible level of the lyrics, the words, the exchange of verbal energy between the people during the song along the journey that makes the action tick, makes it actually move. But then you have one more layer, and that's the underneath layer. This is where the music comes in. Composers, my loves, talking to you. Subtext. Music, musical theater is not always, but I'd say a solid 90 to 95% of the time, it is the subtext. It represents everything else that's going on underneath that remains unspoken. So, this can include things like emotions and intentions. In fact, I would say it should include emotions and intentions. Again, with our ice cream example, we've got this argument. Step 1, step 2, but step 3 conclusion, right? Great, love it. We have put specific words to all of that. But what we don't have represented necessarily in steps 1 and 2 is what the other person is thinking and feeling. So perhaps that underlies in the music somehow. Maybe there's an anxiety from this other person. Does that contribute to the music? That would be more of an emotional use of the subtext of the song, because perhaps that other person is our perspective character, our point of view character. So we need to know how they are feeling underneath all of this. But perhaps it's the convincing character who instead is the one who's the perspective, the one driving, pulling us through. Maybe we're on their side, seeing through their eyes. And for them, it's more about their intention. Maybe the intention to get this person to go to ice cream is to get them out of the way so something nefarious can happen where we are, right? Okay, neat. I don't know. High drama. It's a musical. Let's go. Then, how do we get the darkness, the nefariousness, and the idea of come get ice cream, right? So again, we have our action layer, the mechanics. What's happening? How? What does it look like? That. Then, the tangible level. What's actually being said in the exchange? What does the language sound like that's being utilized? How do we actually make the mechanics tick? Then all of that is underlaid by that subtext, emotions and intentions. This in combo, that's how you tell a story in a song, my friends. So the thing that was slowing everybody down is a lack of clarity in character development and or plot movement. And that is storytelling, right there. This is the crux of storytelling. This is how we make the story happen. And I'm going to show you some examples, and then we'll talk about how we're going to do this in the challenge piece. But I'm going to stop my share for a moment and leave the slideshow to check in with the chat. Stopping the share. If my camera goes a little wonky for a moment, just know it's just my computer being my computer. It's not a problem. Coming back to the chat. Oh, we have people. Hi, Gerardo from Reno. Welcome, Reno, Oregon. Yes. Misery. Thank you. Missouri. We also have work on Monday. Oh, well, that's okay. If you're signed up, you will still get the replay. It'll be good. And yes, it is indeed. Rhetoric, Aristotle, thank you. Thank you for that, Gerard. I appreciate you. How are we doing over here? Does this all make sense so far, my friends? This idea of the multiple layers, what might be missing in the mechanics of what you're doing. Because I think that this is something that we don't talk about enough. I think too often we rely on just skills. If we know our skills, we're good. We're fine. Everything's wonderful. Yes, and. You still have to tell the story, we still have to develop character. And I know that that's a large part of the process of figuring out your shows along the way, but even if you want to write a one-off song for something, Let's say someone asked you to write them a song for cabaret. Awesome. I've been asked that several times in the past. You still need to be able to create these layers, even if you don't have the full context of an entire show that goes through a development process and has all of that. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, all that context for you, right? Built in. Great. Lovely. I'm glad it makes sense, Strad. What's up? All right. Well, I don't see any questions here. Or confusion. So onward we're gonna go. I'm going to come back to the slideshow. Then I'm gonna be putting on my original sound. Again, I apologize for if you can hear the fan in the background. Hopefully you shouldn't be able to hear any street noise, but we'll see. Oh, you're not gonna let me re-enter the slideshow? That's weird. Weird flex, bro. Okay. Should work. Great. Okay. Coming on back. Coming on back. Back to sharing the screen. Thanks for being with me here, friends. And we're back to the show. As I said, the big underlying problem here, if we don't have all of this working together, is a lack of clarity. Not just any clarity, crystal clarity. Here's the thing when it comes to musicals. Musicals are great for so many reasons. We love them. If you didn't love them, you wouldn't be here. But at the same time, we have this strange little thing that occurs, which is that with the amount of information that comes to an audience between all of the elements of a musical, if there is any muddiness in what is being done or said or seen on stage, then we are automatically in trouble. A lack of crystal clarity can lose your audience so fast. We don't want that, right? We don't want to lose it. That'd be against everything that we're there to do. So we're going to talk about why a lack of crystal clarity is an issue through a song progression. And at the end of today, I'm going to present you with that first step in our challenge. So I'll take you through how a lack of clarity completely and utterly muddies a song moment. It is an example from yours truly. What? Michael's not perfect? Nope. Def not. And certainly not in the earlier stages of my journey. I'm not going to take you all the way to the earliest several years, but a few years after that. If you are in the community and you've watched the Write a Song in a Weekend workshop, this will sound somewhat familiar to you. We're going to use the same examples, but through a slightly different perspective. Forward? No. Okay, that's... You just got a sneak peek. Oh, no. I guess I should stop my share for this. You don't want to look at this bill slide. Look at my face. My face is better. Okay. Right, which means I'm actually going to keep the comments up. Sweet. All right. So you may be familiar with some of my work, probably The King's Legacy. You've heard of, at least if you've been in this world for a hot second. It's a musical based on the life of Anne Boleyn and her daughter, Queen Elizabeth I. It is about the incredible things that both these women did and were able to do, though Anne paid a price for it at the end. But we're not going to focus on Anne or Elizabeth at the moment. We're going to focus on the problem character, Henry, King Henry VIII. So if you don't know who Anne Boleyn is, she's of 6, she's number 2. That should help. Henry VIII in this show is both Anne's love interest and the antagonist of the piece, which is a tricky balance. It also made establishing him as a character very difficult to do. So I went through quite a process on this, trying to figure out how to create a character establishment song for someone who was, at the start of a show, very angry, but not yet someone who was going to be chopping off heads. We're not there yet. That takes quite some time to get to. There's a decent amount of hope for this guy still. At the top of the show, after we do a little birthday celebration for this guy, he does a joust drunkenly and injures his leg. So he's in a place of not greatness when we begin this journey. And I'm going to walk you through the three-step progression on the different song versions that finally led to clarity on who this guy is and what this guy wants. So here we go, original sound on. Hopefully this fan is not too loud. And I'm gonna face this way and play the piano and sing. Just for clarity. Crystal clarity. Alright, I'm done. Okay. In the original version of the show, he had a best friend. If you've watched The Tudors, Charles Brandon utilized him as a best friend kind of figure for Henry in the first version of the show, which means that here he is, he's angry, he's getting his leg bandaged up, and he's talking to his best friend while singing to his best friend. Charles does speak in here and sings one line. Why? I don't know. But here's what we end up with. Drama, friends. Lots of drama. I could have died today, Charles. Don't you understand? I was unseated. Lines. How can I rest? My life was in the balance, and now I can never rest. Patient. Not until my lineage is secure. But you have a daughter, not a son. That's all my wife could bear. If I'd have been undone, I'd have left no heir. Today I vow to make secure my legacy. I swear I won't allow my line to end, I guarantee. I shall raise a son on high. All shall bend a knee and cry, a king to reign, all kings is nigh. Charles, I could have died today. Here's the one line this guy sings. But you didn't. I have questions for younger Michael. It could have happened, I shall not delay. I'll pray for a son. I shall send up a prayer. On this cursed day do I swear, I shall not leave this world without ne'er having given all England a long-lasting male tutor heir. And then something dramatic is said to end the song, because drama. The first version of the show is super dramatic, my friends, super dramatic. Okay, that song is called Legacy. The show, it's called The King's Legacy. And the show is called The King's Legacy. Because it's about, hey, the legacy? Question mark? Is it about the legacy? I don't know. I have a lot of questions here. Like a lot of questions. Including, what are we talking about? Like, theoretically speaking, this man is talking about a son and an heir. But is he? Because he starts with this idea of I didn't die, right? I could have died, but I didn't die. Neat. So, how can I rest? I don't have a lineage that's secure. I don't have a son. Great, so I vow to make secure my legacy. I swear I won't allow my line to end. I guarantee I shall raise a son on high. All shall bend a knee and cry, a king to reign all kings is nigh, Charles. Okay. So what's the goal here? It sounds to me like, suddenly out of nowhere, this man, in a very angry tone, just wants a boy to do what, though? So far, it sounds like he wants a boy to become a totalitarian dictator of some variety. Which, I mean, Renaissance kings kind of walked that balance line of their power being a little too much and their power beginning to be stripped away a little bit. There was a decent sharing of power at the time, and then Henry becomes a bit totalitarian later on as he gets a little cuckoo. It could have happened, I shall not delay, I'll pray for a son. So, are we going to take an action? Are we going to do anything about it? Or are we just going to sit here and whine and cry and yell about not having a son, but I need a son? But also, like, why do we need a son? You haven't told us anything about the why. The show hasn't set that up. Is there a personal reason you need a son? And so you have a daughter, so you have a wife. So is there a reason we can't just keep going with what? Like, where are we? What's the context? What's the before? What's the after? And then, in terms of like action of what this song is doing, he comes to that conclusion of I need a boy really, really fast, right? It was on page 1 of 4. So he started with I could have died today and I need a boy. What's the rest of the action doing? There is none. There is no action. It's just whining and yelling. Is that interesting to watch? Not particularly. Then lyrically, we repeat several things, but like there's no actual hook on this thing. Ugh. Thoughts? Questions? Help? Anyone? Yeah, the music, is the music doing something? It definitely gives a sense of his emotional states, his unhingedness at this moment. But should he be unhinged already? No? Where are we going to grow to? If he's just angry right away, I don't know what's happening. There's a lack of clarity. I honestly, I didn't have enough answers to my own questions in order to make this work. I tried to get some of those answers moving into the next draft of the show. So this was from 2013. The 2014 draft sounds like a completely different song. It is. It's called A Legacy. The final version is called Legacy, so we're on our way. It's a progression, right? So I began to try to answer some of these questions. But here's what I learned, friends. You can't shove in answers. You can, yeah, yes, Gerard, that is true. You can't, like, manufacture things. Especially if it doesn't fit with the character, or it doesn't make sense to the story proper. And especially for a character establishment song, if we're going to write something early on in the show that doesn't play out later, why did we say it to begin with? So I may have made some interesting choices here. You can be the judge of that as we go through version 2. Henry is a lot less angry in this, perhaps a little too not angry for having almost just died and having an injured leg. I don't know, you tell me. I see palaces, I see conquered land, I see treasures here. Charles, can you see? Oh, we're still talking to Charles in this version. A man is given but one chance, a chance to build upon his name. 7 English Henrys came before me, each one of his fame, his legacy. A man is made of flesh and bone, the bones of those who came before. Mortal men are easy to extinguish, but you can't ignore a legacy. Second chance, and I vow here and now I will advance. A man can build beyond his stars, the stars that shine upon his deeds. I vow to beautify the country, I vow to conquer land for England. I vow to multiply our coffers. I vow to leave behind an heir. Yes, I vow to leave behind a legacy. Okay, closer in some ways. It has a hook. We know what we're aiming for. Legacy. But I have a lot of questions on what that means. Don't you? Do you have questions? I have questions. My questions are... Wait, hold on. What's a legacy then? Because a boy just seems like tucked in there. Right? It's like, right from the beginning. I see palaces. So, beautifying? Conquered land. Okay. Army, military might, expanding the empire? Huh? It wasn't an empire. Expanding the country? I don't know. I see treasure. Okay. Money? We didn't even mention a boy. But I have questions about these three. Where did these come from? How did we get here to these wands? Why are we talking about it? Especially after, like, having injured yourself. Doing something a little dumb. And then this, we're a dreamer. Did I overcorrect? I think I overcorrected. So in terms of extra clarity, we have some clarity here. A man's given but one chance to build upon his name. There are other Henrys. They were famous for something. Yay! A man can die. Okay. We're finally hitting on that idea of like, hey, I could have died. Right? Where we started with the other song, I could have died today, Charles. Legacy. But then he says, I didn't die. In a very long B section. I'm here with a second chance. And I vow I will advance. How? What? You've said nothing so far, Michael. I mean, Henry. Sometimes I like to go back in time and talk to little Michael and be like, hey, come here. You know, we didn't say anything. So what's the mechanic of this? Are there mechanics? I guess. But no, because we started with hope, and then we end with, like, hope. You know? Huh? What are we doing? A man can build beyond his stars. What's that mean? So we're going to beautify. We're going to conquer. We're going to get richer. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to leave behind an heir. Neat! The whole show is driven by the fact that this man feels he needs a son. A son? We barely touched on it! So are the lyrics doing specifics? They are. Are they the right specifics? No. They don't fit the character. The music, however, there was something in the music I was like, okay, the intention seems correct here for a lot of reasons. I think I was finding what I was looking for musically. His emotional state, yes and no. This, there's something in that feels right for his emotional state. This, no. Right, we have to be able to hit all three of these layers to find our crystal clarity. I didn't do it in this draft. It was close. It was close. Not quite. Not quite. Okay. Here's a version that actually sticks around. If my iPad will open. Thank you! This is the real version of Legacy, as it exists currently in the show. For this, all questions are answered. All of our answers are aligned. And we have the mechanics that are clear, the lyrics that are clear, and language of this man and his problems, and music that is clear. But I'll let you decide if I'm right or if I'm delusional. Which is fine. A little bit of delusion. That's how we write musicals, friends. So, no longer Charles Brandon. Instead, it is Cardinal Wolsey. If you're familiar with the history, this is a man who enacted a lot of the stuff that Henry was doing. Won't go into specifics of it, but important guy. So, he's now quite mad. A man can make... Oh, excuse me. I'm gonna start that over. A man is made of flesh and bone, the bones of those who came before. Mortal men are easy to extinguish, but you can't ignore a legacy. A man is given but one chance, the chance to build upon his name. 7 other Henrys came before me, each one of his fame, his legacy. My father took this kingdom with his hands. When all seemed lost, Henry Tudor won. He gave to me these peaceful, thriving lands. But damn it all, now I need a son. A man can choose to be a fool abandoning all care. I cannot continue to be reckless, or I will despair my legacy. There's a little dialogue here I'm going to skip over, but essentially it's, but you have a daughter! And he's like, a daughter's not strong enough. I don't know why I just became John Mulaney. Here we go. I did not die. With a second chance. clear. What do we have? We have a man starting right away with the idea of, oh crap, I almost died. If you die, what happens? Nothing. Unless you have fame. You leave something behind. Okay, great. Logic, I like it already. Here we are. And then that idea of like the other Henrys, like clearly this man is in a very specific position of trying to live up to his own name as a king. Weird. Then we get backstory, friends. The thing that makes this important. My father took this kingdom. He won. He gave to me peace and prosperity. I gotta pass that on. I need a son, right? Oh, the logic is logicking. Finally, Michael, finally. But you can choose to be a fool, and if you do, you will lose it all. But you have a daughter. Not enough. Not good enough. Love this time period. Then we get to the idea of, okay, what to do about it. I didn't die. So with this second chance, I'm actually going to use it. I'm going to do something, and we, not just I, we will advance forward. Because if I die without a son, no one's advancing, right? A man can build beyond his stars. What does that mean? We clarified. Give his son and heir the world. Okay, so we've got big dreams for this little boy. That doesn't exist. What am I going to do about it? I'm not going to squander my riches, right? We reversed from the previous version. I will not risk my life. I will not settle for a daughter. I'll have a son to be my heir. I vow that son will be my legacy. Crystal clarity. And as you can hear, I made tweaks to the music as well. And it brings out the emotional progression of this man, right? I changed registration. I stripped things away. In that second version, I think this is going to what you're talking about here, Ashley, with how the second version's more captivating automatically. This version's more captivating automatically. Second version of this song had just this running thing under every A section. That's not progression, right? What I wanted was a sense of, like, danger. Two things about this. I'm not going to stick on this for too long, friends, but I just want to point this out. Just as a small thing about the way that music can completely transform with small tweaks. We start with this. So we get the same idea of the sound, the chord being utilized here, but it's very stilted. Da-da-da-da-ba, da-da-da-da-ba. Sparse. So the voice has room now, which means we can pull this way down. A man is made of flesh and bone. Right? Seems like the voice is floating over top now. In addition, we're ending where? On the tritone. Right? We get a sense of the danger inherent, right? Small tweaks. Small. Adding an extra 2 beats between our A sections in the pause and the stillness. Right? Adding extra registration, especially in that interlude section when we jump up here to adding an extra octave in the bass with this up top. Like, all these small things made a huge difference. And that's how we get crystal clarity. We're going to turn off the original sound now. We don't need it anymore. Ooh, sorry about the fan. Hopefully it wasn't too loud, my friends. Hopefully it wasn't too loud. So, if anyone has a question on that progression, it should be clear. I've taught this progression several times. Not through this lens, though. This is a new lens for teaching this because, again, the crystal clarity piece. I often use this for, like, showing the progression of a song, what it feels like to get it right finally, what development feels like. I've also used this for, like, finding who your character is, finding your story. I've also used this for, like, finding the structure of a song, right? So this is an even new perspective on this progression of 1, 2, 3, which is finding clarity, being able to hit mechanics, lyrics, and music all together, right? Surface, tangible, underneath, there we go. Okay, so now that brings us to the songwriting challenge piece, which means Michael needs to grab the slides. Michael's gonna grab the slides. I wrote that song for you all just now. I hope you liked it. And if you didn't, Don't worry, I didn't record it. Well, I guess this is recording, isn't it? Never mind. Okay. Sharing screen. Here we go. Back to the slides. So your challenge part 1. Okay, here's where we were. The first part of the songwriting challenge is going to be to choose one of 3 very specific moments in one of 3 very different fairy tales. Because public domain, people, public domain. Copyright is something we have to deal with at times, quite often. But whenever you can use public domain or rights on the original, highly suggested. So public domain for this. Okay, so one of 3 specific moments in one of 3 very different fairy tales. I'll give you the list in a moment. And to write a singular 32-bar course song. And there's going to be a specific structure to that. We will talk about that on day 2. So that's on Friday. If you are another 32-bar course, great. It'll be a lovely refresher. I also may say something you've never heard before, so come anyway. Actually, you have to come anyway because I'm going to talk about way more than just the 32-bar course. Good Lord, Michael. Okie dokie, here we are. This is what the songwriting challenge is going to be. So here's your list of 3 fairy tales. And I'll leave time at the end of today for some questions on things as we go through. So just know that you can ask questions. You can do it now as I can't see you or when I come back. Your 3 fairy tale options are Hansel, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, or the 3 Little Pigs. These are all clear journeys, all 3 of them. So that's the reason I chose them. Plus the fact that none of these have a famous musical attached. I do believe all 3 have been musicalized to different extents, but neither here nor there. We're not writing for musicals that exist. We are writing for your own version of the story. Okie dokie. So once you choose your fairy tale option, you're going to need to make some decisions by answering a first set of questions that we're going to get to in a moment. But let's talk about the specific song moment. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll my notes. Here we go. You'll be writing a single 32-bar chorus song. Ooh, apparently a single 32-bar chorus. So, NG. Good work, Michael. Told you, I put this together fast, y'all. For a specific song moment. So for Hansel and Gretel, it's going to be having just overheard dad and stepmom chatting about the plan to bring the kids into the woods and leave them there. Fairy tales, everybody. They're dark. Yay, do with it as you will. So dad's not happy about that, but he does agree. So that song moment is just after having heard that conversation, which means we are singing with the kids, with Hansel and Gretel. Nice. For Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, this is when Goldilocks first comes upon the house, and when she's like hailing the residents, whatever that looks like in your version, and doesn't get a response from anyone inside the home. But the song can take place during the hailing, or just after the hailing, no response, before entering. Okay, so we start in a place where she has not entered yet. Great. Or the 3 Little Pigs. This is where Mother Pig, who gets cut out of the story a lot, I've noticed. I don't know why. Anyway, this is where she has just sent her little pigs out into the forest to make their own way, having realized she can no longer feed and support them. So Mom has just cut the cord on us because we all fell on hard times. And so you've got 3 pigs. You can have all of them sing. You can have one of them sing. It doesn't matter to me. But that's our moment. Is they were just told that, and they're in the forest, and they're now abandoned. Not with Mom. Right? I chose happy spots. You're welcome. My gift unto all of you. So, first thing that we're going to need to do is to answer a set of questions that writers often leave out, but this is important. Okay. I do, however, just want to say, make this your own version. I mean, there's a bajillion versions of all these tales. So you get to decide who these characters are in your story. I want you to please give them a more fleshed out background and backstory, which these questions will hit at as well. but use the original tale as a starting place and use it as a frame for your version of the story, right? It's musical theater. We adapt. That's what we do. We take a story and we adapt it to the stage and musicalize it. Even original tales, like not that old phrase, nothing original under the sun. Yeah, true. Facts, right? So anything really is an adaptation, just might be an adaptation of life or an adaptation of a thought you had in your brain. And then we do need to answer the questions of when are we and where are we, right? You can be as specific with this as you want to, or you can keep it the vague fairy tale forest out in fairy tale bookland. You do you. Okay. Once you've chosen your spot, your story and your spot, and you begin to answer these questions. Here's the real questions. Here we go, friends. Feel free to write these down. If you are signed up for the challenge, you will get these in an email later today. So, write them down if you want to, though. What is this scene about? Who's involved and where are we? Okay. When in the arc of the scene will the song take place? I highly suggest either the beginning of the scene or the end of the scene. It's kind of difficult to put something in a song in the middle of the scene and then do more scene, unless it's like a tag to the scene. Yeah. And what justifies moving into a song from the dialogue? How does music come in? Mechanics. Where are we when the song begins, and where are we headed? Again, we're hitting with that mechanics idea. Specifically, where are we going? But also emotionally, where do we go? Where do we start? Where do we end? Ooh, so we can put that middle layer on it. What is the song actually about? Now, people confuse this often. This is that whole thing about songs being layered. I feel like if you're here writing musical theater, you probably understand this. But I talk to my vocal clients a lot about this, especially when we're doing audition coaching, because so often performers don't get to hear the background story of the writing and the writer to know truly what a song is about underneath everything, right? If we're looking at Legacy, that last version of Legacy, what's that song about? Is it about this man needs a boy? On the surface it is, but what's the song actually about? It's about a man feeling desperate because he just confronted his own mortality for the first time. And he has a gigantic amount of pressure on him to deliver prosperity to his country forever, right? Big things, big things. But it's like, it's desperation and mortality. That's what the song's about, right? So what's your song about on the surface? What's it about underneath? What action needs to take place during the song? Oh, when I say surface, by the way, that I mean that on that tangible level. It's that not surface action. That's here's what the song is saying, here's what the lyrics are saying, but what's the stuff underneath, right? That's where we looked at the music usually. What action needs to take place during the song? Mechanics. What character or characters, what they are achieving, what's the objective through the song. Those weren't words. My apologies. Again, I did this fast. What is their tactic or their set of tactics? That's that tangible level in conjunction with the action level, right? And then do they succeed or fail? You may not know, we're writing a singular 32-bar chorus song, so like, maybe this would really be just the first half of the song if we were to continue the song, but we need to know either that we have succeeded or failed, or we're on our way to success or failure, right? We're just going to write a singular 32-bar. Woo! That brings us to the end of that. So, or the end of the slideshow at least. I'm going to stop my share. Coming back. Okay, so on day 2, we will indeed discuss the 32-bar course format and make a whole bunch of new decisions that are based on a deeper set of questions, even than this, which will speak directly to the writing of the music and the lyrics. So this is only step 1, friends. Only step 1. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So I do want to leave a moment here as we come to the end of the hour for, hey, does anyone have questions on any of this? Do I need to clarify anything for you? Or is it all crystal clear for you already? Hopefully it is, because, you know, I want it to be, but also I just thought about clarity. So hopefully it's clear. So happy. No inherent conflict. Whatever will we do? Yeah. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, we gotta have conflict. I love conflict. Conflict is the best. Maybe not in real life. I don't love conflict, but it does drive life forward. So here we are. But I know there's a delay on YouTube comments, so I'm gonna take a sip of water. Will we get a copy of the questions? Yes, if you are signed up for the challenge, if you went through that process and signed up with your email, the questions will be emailed to you later today, along with the link to this video for the replay. If you want to go back, rewatch any of it, or you missed any part of it, it'll all be in there in an email. So yes, you will have a copy of the questions. Thank you, Elizabeth. Can you apply the questions to a developing musical? You can indeed. A large part of why I'm doing this challenge is because I want you to be able to walk away from this with the ability to apply what we've learned during the challenge to a larger thing. I'm going to say more about that next time and on Monday, both. Because yes, yeah, the short answer is yes. The longer answer is when you begin to zoom out past one song, it becomes a bit more complicated. Not overly complicated, becomes more complicated, which is why I really wanted to keep this to a singular song, especially a 32-bar chorus song based on stories that we are all familiar with in some capacity. But yes, essentially, I would ask these questions of your general musical theater writing large story. Absolutely. There's, in fact, even more questions I would ask. Oh, speaking of questions, if you have not yet downloaded my North Star question sets, those would be where I'd start. If you're looking to write a full musical, it's 6 sets of questions that are going to act as your North Star, as your guide through the process of planning, writing, and developing and producing a musical. The answers may change a little bit along the way, but generally, like having those questions answered is going to simplify your process so much. I don't know if the link to that is in the description. I assume it is, because I think I put it in the link to everything, because use those questions. Those, when I figured out that we could simplify it to those 6 question sets, I was like, this is gold. Take it, everybody. Go, run. Anyway, yes, thank you, Rochelle, for jumping in on that. Any other questions? Just to be sure, I'm thinking right because my brain is in words first. Great. 32 bar. Yeah, we're going to talk more about that next time. But it's not about so much about the lines, as you'll see. We'll break it down. Lyricists have a little more flexibility. It's a little more open-ended for y'all. That being said, that can be both a positive and a detriment. Because sometimes if the field is too open, it's like, uh-oh. But sometimes an open field is great. So yes, we'll chat about that more on Friday for show. Good question, though. Good question. And as a reminder, friends, feel free to utilize the chat here, the comments, to pair up with someone if you want to pair up. I always think it's great to write in collaboration, especially if you don't do both elements, the composing and the lyricizing. You do not have to for this. It'll work either way, but it's a nice thing to do. Write a one-off. My AABAs can get lengthy. Yeah, that's a thing. You're not alone there. I mean, you saw that second version of the Legacy song. I think I called that a B section originally. The I did not die section. That's not an 8-bar B. Like 32 bars of its own. No, I think it was 16. Or was it 32? Either way. Nope. Yet, I hear you. I get it. Constraints are great. All right, well, I don't see any other questions coming in. So I'm going to leave it there, my friends. So join me Friday, the 9th of August at noon US Eastern Time for the next part of the Songwriting Challenge. If you have not yet signed up with your email, do so you can get the links. and the replays and all the info and the ability to get feedback, all those things are only available to people who sign up. It's free. What do you got to lose? Come join us, please. It's gonna be great. And so we'll be in the room together on Zoom on Friday and on Monday. So there will be more of a live chat feel to it. I'm not gonna put it into webinar mode, so I'll like pin my face and stuff, but we'll be able to see each other, hear each other, chat. You can ask questions with your voice and your face. Isn't that nice? I like it. That's noise in the background. Hopefully you can't hear that. All right, my friends. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me for day one. Look for that email with all the stuff. Make sure to sign up. Get the email. And I will see you all on Friday. All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. And happy beginning to your writing journey. Peace out, everybody. Bye.